Good evening, dear ladies. חודש טוב ומבורך. We are almost בסייעתא דשמיא. It's ערב ראש חודש. In an hour approximately we are going to be on ראש חודש, the 30th day of the month of Sivan, and this is Wednesday, and בסייעתא דשמיא Thursday is the first day of the month of Tammuz. May Hashem bless us, and that we will all have the זכות to greet משיח צדקנו ברחמים ברורים במהרה בימינו אמן. אליהו הנביא, אליהו תשבי, אליהו גלעדי, במהרה ימינו משיח דוד, אלינו וזכו לטוב, and may we all have the זכות to, בעזרת השם, to see the building of בית המקדש השלישי במהרה בימינו אמן. כעין בן ראשו ועד ציון, אתה תקום תרחם ציון, כי עת לחננה כי בא מועד. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשוב החדש ימינו כקדם. And we all have the זכות to go to ארץ ישראל, to the land of Israel on the wings of eagle, and we all have part in ארץ ישראל. בסייעתא דשמיא חודש טוב ומבורך עלינו ועל כל עם ישראל. That will be a blessed day, a month upon us and כלל ישראל and the whole world בעזרת השם. Dear ladies, the שיעור is for רפואה שלמה של מדלנה מלכה בת שמחה, רפואה שלמה של רבקה יוכבד בת דינה, רפואה שלמה health בעזרת השם for רחל בת פסיה, חי עדית יהודית בת רחל, רפואה שלמה ליונה בת שרה זוהרה, רפואה שלמה בסייעתא דשמיא לשרה בת מלכה, מדלנה's daughter, and שרה בת מלכה, לאה בוטier's mother, and בעזרת השם לרחל חיה בת שרה לאה, and also רפואה שלמה לשרה רחל בת חסידה שרה, למרדכי בן רבקה, and everybody that needs from א' to ת' בעזרת השם. May everybody have health mentally and physically. And בסייעתא דשמיא, all the people that are healthy, may Hashem continue their health mentally and physically. בשם השם נעשה ונצליח, אין עוד בלבדו, השם שפתיי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. הכל בשם כל ישראל. Everything that we do is in the זכות of כל ישראל. Dear ladies, we are in Parashat Korach. And בסייעתא דשמיא, in Israel, they are already in the next parasha. They're in Parashat Chokat. We are still in Parashat Korach. Only at the end of Chumash Bamidbar we are going to join and be together. When we come to Parashat Masa'ei, we will have Matot and Masa'ei, two portions together. They will have only Masa'ei, and then from there on we continue, and we're at the same portion. So this is the portion of Korach. You know, it's incredible because it says, באהבת חיים רבי מנחם מנשה, עליו השלום זכותו תגן עלינו, he says, פרשת קורח מודיעה לנו עד כמה קשה המחלוקת. It shows us how much disagreement is harsh in the eyes of Hashem. שאין אדם נענש בעולם הזה עד שיהיה בן 13. That a person is not punished in this world until he comes to the age of mitzvot, that he accepts upon himself the commandments in this world, the age of 13 for boys, the age of 12 for girls. Which means he has to be 13 in one day. ומבית דין שמיים לא נענש עד שיהיה בן 20 שנה. And in heaven he is judged only from the age of 20. How much Hashem has mercy upon us. ופה, and over here, ראינו במחלוקת של קורח שאפילו תינוקות של בית רבן נספו ונבלעו וירדו לגיהינם. And over here we see that even the babies, and not only babies, and also the women and all of the children under the age of mitzvot, and everything they had, the cattle, the sheep, everything that they had, and everything, pans, needles, everything that they had, all of it went to hell. All of it. The earth opened its mouth and they all went to hell. You know, הרב קניבסקי, חיים קניבסקי עליו השלום זכותו תגן עלינו, he says that, החפץ חיים says, so what is the length of hell? So he said that until Hannah came and said, Hannah said, morit sheol vayal, which means that Hashem takes a person when he puts him in hell and throws him in, and he says, and then he will bring him back. Until the time of Hannah, Korach and all of his people were still falling down in hell. So what is the length of years from the time that Korach was until the time of Hannah. So it says like 300 years. It says like 300 years. So it means that Korach and all of his people were falling down in hell for 300 years until Hannah came and davened to Hashem and prayed to Hashem, Morit Sh'ol Bayar, that Hashem will pick them back, and Bezrat Hashem, it says, Kisar Achamim says, that when Hashem will bring Mashiach, and the Beit HaMikdash will come from heaven to earth, the gates that King David built, these are gates that stays forever. They are inside the earth. And Korach and all of his people are holding the gates. And when the gates will go up, he will go up with all of his people. Can you imagine what a disagreement that is not for the sake of heaven can cause? Because it says in Masechet Avot that a disagreement for the sake of heaven is disagreement of Hillel v'Shamai, Shammai v'Hillel. This was a disagreement for heaven. They had disagreements in the commandments, but they married each other, they loved each other. This is a disagreement in the sake of heaven. Everything is for the sake of Hashem. But this disagreement was a disagreement for pride, for ego, for ruling. You know, the Lubavitcher Rebbe says we need to learn from Korach, because still the Korach, the portion is named after him. Because truly he wanted to serve Hashem, but it wasn't with the right intentions. He wanted to serve Hashem. He wanted to be also a Kohen. He wanted to feel how it is to be a Kohen and how to be close to Hashem, but it wasn't in the right intention, because the evil inclination put inside of him. You know, like a fire that you put it on and it becomes higher and higher. That's why he is called Korach, because he made 3 character attributes that are written in Masechet Avot: Hakin'ah, v'atava, v'akavod, motzin et adam min ha'olam. Jealousy, lust, and honor take a human being out of this world. So like the spies, they fell, and because of them 40 years in the desert the children of Israel were wandering, and because of this until today we have the temple was ruined. 2 temples were ruined on the 9th of Av, and we are crying over it until today. Korach did the same thing, and even worse, because Korach had a disagreement over Moshe Rabbeinu, and what he said, that Moshe Rabbeinu is not really a true messenger of Hashem. Vayikach Korach. So it says, Maze Vayikach Korach, that Korach took a bargain that was not good, a negative bargain for himself. Vayikach Korach, Vayikach. Vayikach, it's divided to Vay, wow, Kach, that he took. Kach in Hebrew, Kuf is 100, Chet is 8, is 108. This is exactly the numerical value of Gehinnom, of hell. So this is what he did to himself. We know that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, and I gave you B'siyata Dishma this also in other lessons. Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu in Parashat Yitro, V'yomer Hashem el Moshe, Hineh anochi ba elecha, I'm coming to you, be'av ha'anan, in a cloud, ba'avur yishma ha'am, which means in a cloud, in a fog, in order that the people, the Jewish people, will hear me speaking with you, that there won't be questions about your leadership. You are the king of the children of Israel. So he says, "Be'av ve'anan ba'avur yishma ha'am bedabrim imcha ve'gam becha ya'aminu la'olam." So they will believe in you forever. And then it says also in Parashat Beshalach, "Vayar Israel et yad hagdola asher asa Hashem b'Mitzrayim." So the children of Israel saw the big hand that Hashem did with the Egyptians in Egypt. Vayir'u ha'am et Hashem. So they were afraid. They had a respect of honor to Hashem. Vayaminu be'Hashem, and they believed in Hashem. Uve'Moshe avdo, and his servant Moshe. And over here comes Korach. And how does it happen? So it says, Chokhmat Nashim Banta Beita. King Solomon says that the wisdom of a woman builds her home. Veivelet be'adea te'arsenu, and a foolish woman breaks her home with her own hands, with her own mouth. So what happened over here? Korach came back. You remember Parashat Baalotcha, in the portion of Baalatcha, one before Parashat Shlach Lecha, before the spies. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu that he will go and that he will shave all of the Levites, their hair and their beards and everything, all of the hair that they have, he will shave them, and then they're going to shake them like a lulav in order to purify them for the service of Hashem, because the tribe of Levi is serving Hashem. And he comes back home, and his wife sees him, and she sees him, and she said, "What happened to you? Look how you look. Who shaved you?" So he tells them, Moshe Rabbeinu shaved us, and he also shaved himself, the whole tribe of Levi. And how strong was Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron? They had to shake them just like the lulav, all of the Levites, in order it's like to take off of them all of the parts of the evil inclination, in order b'siyata dishmaya, that they will be purified to worship Hashem in the holy tent, in the Mishkan. So she told him, of course he did it to you, but he says, but he also did it to himself. He also shaved himself. She says, what does he care? He put himself as the king of the children of Israel, and now he mocks you. He jokes about you. So tell me, what did you study? So he told her that they studied that the mitzvah of tzitzit, there has to be a string that is blue. She said, really? I will make you a whole tzitzit that is blue. Go and ask him if that's okay. If the whole tzitzit is blue, do they still need one string that is blue in every corner of the tzitzit? So, and then she continued. She said, look at what Moshe Rabbeinu did. He made himself a king. He took his brother Aaron, made himself a high priest. He made him the high priest, and also his children, Aaron's children, is also in the priesthood. So he took his family, the close family, and he made them the rulers of the children of Israel. Do you see what Moshe Rabbeinu did? And furthermore, everybody has to give 10th of everything to the Kohanim, and even the Levites, when they get the presents from the children of Israel, they have to give 10th to the Kohanim. So she said, what's this? So Korach listened to his wife. He also already had this pride, and we know it in his name. He took Mekachra. It says, Vayikach Korach Sanhedrin, page 109, Amar Eish Lakish, Lakach Mekachra le'atzmo. That he took all of the parts of the evil inclination to himself. He took things that weren't good. And Onkelos says, Va'itpaleg Korach, which means that the good and the evil was separated inside of him. Now the evil is controlling him. And why? Because we can see it in his name, Korach. Kuf stands for Kin'ah. Kin'ah, jealousy in Hebrew, starts with a Kuf. Reish is Romemut. Romemut is honor. So Romemut, which is the word honor, also Kavod in Hebrew, it starts with a Reish. So this is Kuf and Reish. And then we have Chet. Chet ze Chemda. Chemda is Ta'ava, is lust for this world. And why did he have lust? Because Korach was a very wise man. He was very righteous. And we need to know that he was also very rich. He was responsible for the money of Pharaoh, and he found Yosef HaTzadik had three parts of richness that he hid. One of them Korach found, and he took it for himself. He didn't share it with the children of Israel. So he was very rich. He was very respectful. He was very respected by the Jewish people, and furthermore, he was also very righteous. He was very smart. He was very righteous. And it says, and Rashi says that his eye fooled him. His eye fooled him. Rashi says like this, Korach that was very smart, how did he come to such a foolishness? And also listen to his wife. His wife wanted to be the first lady. And listen to his wife. His eye caused him to make a mistake, his spiritual eye, because he saw that a big person is going to come from his descendants, which is Shmuel, that is Shakul, because Hannah is from the tribe of Levi, from Korach's family. So he saw that there will be Shmuel Hanavi, Shmuel the prophet, that Hashem will fulfill everything that he wants, and he's parallel to Moshe and Aaron. So he said to himself, okay, so this chut will stand for me, and instead of waiting for his time to rule, he tried to make it earlier. And this is the way of the evil inclination. If we have a little bit of ego and pride, it starts to conquer it. It finds a small piece, and it tries us, shelo neda, that nobody will know. It tries us, just like with the spies that were all righteous. They were the presidents of the tribes of Israel. How could they fall like this? And furthermore, all of the tribes that already passed, all of the children of Yaakov Avinu, they went inside them, Ibur, in order to help them. And still they fell with ego. So we see over here that Korach had the same thing. He thought, okay, now Hashem will help me in the merit of my descendant Shmuel Hanavi. And we see that he, in his name, that he has jealousy, lust, and honor, take a human being out of this world, because these three character traits, they create the three drops that are combined to one drop on the sword of the angel of death. And we create them during our lifetime. Can you imagine? We do that with our character traits instead of working, because that's what Hashem wants. Ra'ui, it says, Rabbi Moshe Cordover says, Ra'ui shadam yidame lekono. It's appropriate that we will emulate our Creator. How do we emulate him? Because he's from fire. We can't emulate him, but we can emulate him by his attributes. And we need to remember where we come from and where we're going and whom are we going to stand in front of. We come from a drop of sperm. We are going to earth. Once we pass away, we're going back to earth. We came from dust, and we're going back to dust, where that worms are going to eat the flesh. And then the soul stands in front of Hashem to give judgment over everything we did, everything we said, everything. So everything is really nonsense. We came over here, סוף דבר הכל נשמע את האלוקים יראה, and we should follow his commandments. Eventually what we need to do is that we need to have the fear of Hashem and follow his commandments. That's what King Solomon says in Kohelet. סוף דבר הכל נשמע את האלוקים יראה, and then we have to follow his commandments. So this is what we need to do. ואת מצוותיו שמור. So we see over here that even though over here we're responsible from the age of mitzvot, and in the heavens we are responsible from the age of 20, it says over here even children, women, and all of the property that they have, everything, when the earth opened its mouth, everything came in. So there's a question, why did Korach dislike Moshe Rabbeinu, and what happened over here? Because it's written, Vayikach Korach, it says in the parasha, Vayikach Korach, ben Yitzhar ben Kahat, ben Levi, Datan v'Aviram bnei Eliyav, ve'on ben Peled bnei Reuven, which means there are three disagreements over here. But it's written Vayikach Korach, and it's not written Vayikchu, which means Korach took, it says over here, that Korach separated it, not they separated themselves, but Korach, because there were three groups over here. We're going to Me'am Loez, and it says over here what happened with Korach. But first I want to tell you something about Tiferet Shlomo. Tiferet Shlomo, הרב שלמה מדדום, סקלה ושלום זכותו תגן עלינו, האדמו"ר רבי שלמה לוי, that he wrote the book of Tiferet Shlomo. He says this, מדרכם של בעלי מחלוקת, the way of people who make a disagreement over other people, שמסתירים את כוונתם האמיתית. They hide, they conceal their true intention. בשעה שמבקשים להשפיע על הבריות, שיתנו יד למזימותיהם הנפשעות. Once they want the public to be one with them, they don't really say the real intention. They don't say, I'm jealous of this person. No, they come like it's everything they're doing is for the sake of Shamayim, of heaven. They're not doing it for their own sake, for their own ego, for their own honor. They are doing it for the sake of heaven. לשם כך הם משמיעים דברי שקר וחנופה באוזני הקהל. So they spread lies in the ears of the people. Can you imagine? They spread lies over Moshe Rabbeinu. I have to tell you, not only they spread lies, they cause the people to believe that Moshe Rabbeinu has vanity, has pride. And it says, Masechet Sotah, page 4, it says, Kol המתגאה לסוף נכשל באשת איש. He who has pride eventually sins with a married wife that is not his, which means incensed. So just pay attention. Kol המתגאה כאילו בעל כל העריות. And he who has pride, like he sinned with all of the incest, all of the intimate relationships that are forbidden. This is a person who has pride, who has ego, who forgets where he came from and where he's going. And remember Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem gave a testimony upon him at the end of Parashat Ba'alotcha, when his sister Miriam is speaking with Aaron because of Tzipporah, of his wife, and they want to make peace between them because now he's with Hashem and he doesn't come near his wife. And Hashem said, testifies about Moshe Rabbeinu, Vayish Moshe anav me'od mikol ha'adam asher al pnei adama. And the man Moshe is so humble, more than all of the people that are on earth. This is Hashem testifying about Moshe Rabbeinu, because Hashem sees the heart. We see to the eye. So people can fool us and will think that they are humble, but they are not really humble. In their heart, they really have a big ego. And just they play out for people, because the whole world is a stage and we are the actors. We can choose to do the will of Hashem, and we can choose to do the will of the evil inclination. We can fool people, but we cannot fool Hashem. Because people see to the eye, we see to the eye, but Hashem sees the heart of a person. And when we stand in front of Hashem, there's no politics anymore. Everything is pure, everything is true. And we can't say, oh, we didn't mean this, because Hashem shows us everything. So, B'siyata Dishmea Hashem. So this world is called Olam HaSheker, the world of lie, and we can see it all around us. We can see it all around us, slandering, lying, unbelievable. So Moshe Rabbeinu, that was so pure and stood in front of Hashem to protect the children of Israel, even when they wanted to throw stones on him. Even when there was danger for his life, he stood there and protected the children of Israel. So we see over here that Korach goes against him. So the question, and not only that, he causes everybody to think that Moshe Rabbeinu had thoughts and wanted and was with their wives. So they even went to do a checkup, כמו סוטה, בסייעתא דשמיא, and it's כאשר שמע, and the Tirgum of Yonatan ben Uziel, that we just have his Yortzeit, we just had on the 25th of the month of Sivan. So Yonatan ben Uziel, Atana, Alav Shalom Sutot Hagen Alenu, says, when Moshe Rabbeinu saw that there's a disagreement, that he heard the disagreement, they came towards him and he told them, why do you have pride? Why you are ruling the children of Israel? All of the children of Israel are holy. We all received the Torah on Ma'amad Har Sinai. You put yourself upon us. We can all be leaders. So Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav. So Moshe is hearing and he falls on his face. As Chazal say, our sages say that they were because they thought that he has pride. They dressed him with their clothing. Korach dressed him with his clothing. Korach and his wife with his clothing, with their pride, because this is kol haposel bemumo posel. He who finds defaults in others, the defaults are in him. He who tries to put other people down, it's everything that he has in him, because it's like a woman is a mirror of her husband, of how he worships Hashem. So the woman is a mirror of her husband, how he worships Hashem. Furthermore, this is the same thing. When Hashem wants us to do tshuva, he lets us see in others what is really in us. And we dress up kol aposel b'mumo posel. Chazal say this. Our sages says, he who finds defaults in others, the defaults are in him. And furthermore, Rabbi Nachman Mibreslev says that he who wants to find defaults in others, people come and tell him lies. Because the evil inclination knows what he wants. So the evil inclination gathers people that are wicked around him, evil people, to give him lies upon the people, the person that he wants to hear lies about him. Why? Because of his own ego. But what happens is that there's like shells upon us, because the evil inclination doesn't want us to do teshuvah. So it prevents us to see in our spiritual eyes what we are doing. Shelo neda, that nobody will know that we'll all do teshuvah in front of Hashem. That everything will be revealed to us, and we will do teshuvah in front of Hashem. So we see that everybody had this, they had a suspicion that Moshe Rabbeinu was with their wives. And Rabbi Yonatan ben Uziel says about this, כאשר שמע משה כינה כל אחד מהם את אשתו, השקע אותה מי סוטה, that they gave her, you remember the מי סוטה בפרשת נשוא, that when a husband thinks that his wife was cheating on him, he takes to the Kohen, and over here he gives us to drink and to see if she didn't cheat her husband and was with another man. And he heard that they went and checked their wives because they had suspicion. He fell on his face because of the shame. He couldn't believe that this is happening. And Hashem was the one that gave testimony over Moshe Rabbeinu that he's the humblest and of all people in the world. Can you imagine this happening? So what happened? Before I go back, what happened with Korach and Moshe? I would like to tell you what Masechet Sanhedrin says about this. So they had suspicion that he was with their wives. And this is why he fell on his face. And what did they tell him? We know that Moshe Rabbeinu is a reincarnation of Hevel. That's the Hey of Moshe, stands for Hevel. And Korach, the Kuf is from Cain, so he was the reincarnation of Cain. And we know that Cain was jealous of Hevel. This is from the beginning, just like the serpent was jealous of Adam. And because of this, he wanted his wife, because he saw Chavad, Eve was so beautiful, he wanted Chava. And he caused the sin of Adam and Chava and Eve. So his Cain, that comes from this a spiritual energy that comes from here, also had jealousy, and also had this a murderous energy inside of him, because of the sin of Adam and Eve, that came death to the world. And Cain saw that his younger brother Hevel, not only that Hashem accepted his sacrifice, not only, thank you, I forgot Korban, sacrifice, not only he received the sacrifice of Hevel, but when Hevel was born, he had 2 twins that were born with him, women, and Cain only had one, so he was very jealous. So he killed Hevel for the twin sisters that he had, and for that Hashem accepted his sacrifice over Cain's sacrifice, because Hevel brought it with all of his heart. And why he deserved to die? Because he saw the Shekhinah, and he wasn't allowed to look at the Shekhinah. He wasn't allowed to look at the divine presence. So now we know that that Korach is the reincarnation of Cain, and Moshe Rabbeinu is the reincarnation of Hevel. So from here starts, it says in Avat Chaim starts, and this is from the Arizal. From here it starts, because this is the separation between good and not good. So we continue, and he says over here, and they tell him, and they tell Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, they says, אמרו למשה, כל כך שררה קיבלת, you put yourself as a king of the children of Israel, ואין אתה ראוי יותר ממנו. You're not worthy of this more than us. מפני שנשאת אשת איש ידוע, because you married a woman that is a wife of another person. He married Tzipporah. What are they talking about? Tzipporah is the daughter of Ito. So he didn't marry a married wife. So look what they tell him. מפני שידוע שציפורה ובתיה, you remember Batya was the daughter of Pharaoh. And she was the one that when he was in the Teva on the Nile, she was the one that took her hand and took him in and put him and gave Yocheved to breastfeed him, and then she took him to the palace, and she was like his mother. So both of them, they were the twins of Hevel. Tzipporah and Batya were the twins of Hevel. So we know in Bereshit, look how a Torah is beautiful and everything is connected. We know in Bereshit that the angels told Hashem, they said, Hashem, ma enosh ki tizkerenu, ben adam ki tidehenu, they told Hashem, why do you behave to the people, the human beings like you do? Let us go down to this world. Hashem said, after they saw that Cain killed Hevel, so they said, let us go down to this world. Look at them. Look what they are doing. So Hashem said, if you would be in this world, your evil inclination will be bigger than the human beings. So two angels said, test us. And he put them down in this world. And they saw how the women in this world were, the humans are beautiful. So they wanted the women. They went to Tzipporah and Batya, the twins of Hevel. But they were very righteous, the twins of Hevel. He was also righteous, Hevel, very righteous. So they were very righteous, so they told them, well, you are angels. So even if we will get pregnant from you, you will say the name of Hashem and you'll go back under the throne of Hashem and we'll stay over here to raise the children on our own. So they said, that's not fair. Please reveal us the name of Hashem. And then if you go back under the throne of Hashem and we have children, we will go back with them. We'll also go up under the throne of Hashem with the children. So they told the secret of the name of Hashem to the twins of Hevel. And because they were very righteous, immediately they said the name of Hashem and they went and they were taken under the throne of Hashem in heaven. They did not come back to earth until there was the time of Pharaoh and Yitro, that they were going together in the fields, and then Hashem brought them back to this earth. And when he brought them back, Pharaoh and Yitro saw them. They were beautiful women. So Yitro took Tzipporah as his daughter and Pharaoh took Batya as his daughter. And we know they're both connected because Moshe Rabbeinu is the reincarnation of Hevel, and he came to fix what Hevel did. That's why he didn't look at the burning bush, because Hevel looked at the Shekhinah, the divine presence, and Moshe Rabbeinu, he did not look at the burning bush. So we see that Batya raised Moshe Rabbeinu in the palace of Pharaoh, and Tzipporah married him. So we see over here, they tell him this, that we know that Tzipporah she's married because she's the wife of Hevel, they tell him. And that's why, and they say you married a married woman because she is the wife of Hevel. And he says, furthermore they said that Cain was the one that needed to do Yibum to Tzipporah. That Cain was supposed to do Yibum to Tzipporah because Hevel died and he didn't have children. And Yibum means that his brother marries the wife of his brother if he didn't have children, if his brother didn't have children, in order to give him, the soul will come back and to give him a name in this world. But Moshe Rabbeinu said, how can, and furthermore they said that Cain didn't do chalitza, which means if the brother doesn't want to marry the wife of his deceased brother, he needs to make chalitza to free her, so everybody else can marry her. But they said Cain didn't do chalitza, But Moshe Rabbeinu said, how can he do Yibum? How can he marry after he killed her husband? So better he doesn't need to give chalitza to her. He doesn't need to free her, because this is mitzvah sheba be'avera. This is a mitzvah that comes from a sin. So he can't do it. So Tzipora is a free woman. She's not really a married woman. This is how, they were connected to Hashem, that they could see everything. We don't see anything. We don't even know what we came to fix. So the Arizal said in our generation, that we are a weak generation spiritually, that in our generation, B'siyata Dishmaya, we need to fix everything. But they knew. See how strong the evil inclination is, a Yetzer Hara? That even people that were so wise and they knew the Torah by heart, they didn't have to write anything and to memorize again and again, because they had the well of Miriam and they had the man that they ate that purified them spiritually and physically. So it says, Moshe Rabbeinu, v'nikra mitzvah ba'avera, that this is a mitzvah that comes in a sin. So Moshe Rabbeinu fell on his face. He couldn't believe that this is what he's hearing. Can you imagine? So we see over here, it's written, B'Masechet Chagiga, page 15, Amud Aleph, it says that Hashem created heaven and Hashem created the righteous, and He created also the evil people. Hashem creates us, and before we come to this world, He tells the soul, He says to the soul, He gives all the gifts to the soul, everything that is going to happen to her in this world, if it's going to be rich or poor, tall or short, big or small, wise or less wise, beautiful or less beautiful, everything except for righteous and not righteous. We do this. This is the freedom of choice. Either we listen to Hashem or we listen to the evil inclination. This is our choice. So Hashem created also paradise and hell. And it says, V'chol echad v'echad yesh lo bet chalakim. Each and every one of us has two parts. One is paradise and one is hell. And tzaddik, zacha, if we have the merit, tzaddik notel chelko v'chelek chavero began Eden. A righteous person takes his part in paradise and the part of his friend in paradise. And if we don't have the merit, our evil person takes his part in hell and the part of his friend in hell too. Why? Because Hashem causes people to meet each other in order to do the fixing. If we choose the part of the evil inclination and to do disagreement and slandering and gossiping and lies about people, if we choose this and we meet other people and we do it to them, we take, lo alenu, not on us and not on anybody else, we take our part in hell, and we take also from that person his part in hell, and it's all belongs to the evil person. And the good person, the righteous person, takes all of the good from the evil person, and with all of this, he takes his part, and the part of that evil person that he had in Gan Eden, he takes to him. Can you imagine? Mamash separation between good and not good. Lachen ve'itpaleg Korach unkulu says, which means the good and the evil was separated over him. The good went to Moshe Rabbeinu, and the sins that Moshe Rabbeinu did, the few sins, went to Korach. Now Korach is fully evil, Moshe Rabbeinu is fully good. Unbelievable. If we would understand this, we wouldn't do this to others. We are losing our part in this world by judging. And know that when we judge and we found a faults in other people, the faults are in us. We just don't see right. Our spiritual eyes are not open. It's our physical eyes that are open, and all of this ego that is working on us. I told you there are two main character traits, humbleness and pride. And all of the other character traits are derivatives of them. So it all starts, either you're humble like Moshe Rabbeinu, or have pride like Korach, even though you're righteous. Korach was very righteous. Look how he fell. Unbelievable. So we see 3 parts over here. It's a division to 3 parts. So Korach, what happened to him? He saw that Moshe Rabbeinu put Elitzaphan ben Uziel as a president of the Levites. He put him as a president. And Korach said, but I deserve this, because there were 4 children. There were 4 children, it says, Me'am Loez. Me'am Loez says that there are 4 children for the tribe of Levi. There was Amram, the father of Moshe and Aaron and Miriam. Amram, after him came Yitzhar. After that, Hebron. There are 4 children, 4 brothers. And after Hebron, Uziel. And Uziel was the youngest one. And it says, Umeshera'a shel Tzafan ben Uziel, that Elzaphan, the son of Uziel, became a president of his family, Venesi bet Av leMishpachat HaKahati, and the president of the family of Kahat is Elitzaphan ben Uziel. And he saw that he became a president of them. He became very jealous. He said, there are 4 children. My father has 3 brothers, and the 4 children is Amram, Yitzhar, Hebron, Uziel. Uziel is the youngest one. He says, Amram is the oldest one, so his son Moshe is the king of the children of Israel. Aaron, his son, became the high priest of the children of Israel. They took priesthood and kingdom over the children of Israel. So he said, after them, it's supposed to be me. So he says, Are ani ben Yitzhar. I am, because after Amram comes the second son, which is Yitzhar. I am the son of Yitzhar. שהוא בן שני של עמם. ולמה בא משה ועשה לי נזיפה? Why did Moshe do this to me? He should have known that everything that Moshe Rabbeinu does is from Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't decide anything on his own. We said this, בסייעתא דשמיא, because Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, ויאמר השם אל משה, הנה אנוכי בא אליך באב הענן, here I come to you in the cloud, in the fog, בעבור ישמע העם ודברי עמך, that the people will listen to me. This is an yitro, that they will listen and see that I'm speaking to you. Mouth to mouth I'm speaking to you. So they will trust, they will believe in me and believe in you, in Moshe Rabbeinu. So how come Korach can fall in such a foolishness and think that Moshe Rabbeinu just from the top of his head decided to do it? Hashem told him to put Elitzaphan ben Uziel as a president of the family of Kahat. So he felt very, very hurt, because this is his ego. Because in order that we will not get hurt, we have to be humble and to understand, accept upon ourselves, to take down our head and to accept upon ourselves the ruling of Hashem. If Hashem wanted this to happen, it will happen. If Hashem doesn't want, it won't happen. It's not in the hand of human beings, it's in the hand of Hashem. But because the evil inclination conquered Moshe Rabbeinu he conquered Korach with the ego, so this is what happened. And he got very hurt that the small child, that Elitzaphan ben Uziel, became the head. So this is one disagreement. And the second disagreement, so Korach wanted the high priest, to be a high priest instead of Aaron HaKohen. The second one was with the 250 firstborns, that they said, well, until now we are the ones that worshipped Hashem. You remember Yaakov Avinu wanted to worship Hashem. He bought the rights of the firstborn from Esav, because the firstborn of each family, everybody knew, is the one that offers sacrifices to Hashem on the altar in order to atone for the family. But because Esav was so wicked and evil, Yaakov Avinu said he cannot atone for the family, so he bought the rights of the firstborn from Esav. So over here there were righteous 250 firstborns. של רן, האנשים שכולם היו בכורות, all of them were firstborns. And they said, עד עכשיו, we are the ones that sacrificed for the family. We gave the sacrifices, and Moshe Rabbeinu took it from us and gave it to the Levites. So they said, why did he do that? We want to continue and do the work of the firstborns. And the third one was the tribe of Reuven. The tribe of Reuven, Datan ve'Aviram, the tribe of Reuven, On ben Pelet. We see the tribe of Reuven. Moshe natal et הבכורה משבט Reuven, שהיה בכור. Reuven is the firstborn of Yaakov. The first sperm of Yaakov is Reuven that comes from Leah. And he gave this to the part of the rights of the firstborn, he gave to the tribe of Yehudah. And the tribe of Yehudah, that this is kingdomship. From here comes Mashiach. And he was the first for the Galim, for the flags. And the other half he gave to Yosef. And why did he give to Yosef? The Zohar Kadosh writes, why and Reuven didn't fight with Yosef for the rights of the firstborn. And why? Because when Yaakov was with Leah, he was really in his kavana, in his intention, he was with Rachel. So truly the rights of the firstborn should go to Yosef, which from him comes Mashiach ben Yosef. So Shevet Reuven said, we want back the rights of the firstborn because Reuven is the firstborn. So Hashem did this, that the kavana, the intention of Yaakov was for Rachel. That's why part of the rights of the firstborn came also to Yosef. But Korach said to them, he gave it to Yosef because his faithful shamash that is serving him is Yoshua bin Nun. And Yoshua bin Nun is from the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim is the son of Yosef. So that's why he gave also part of the firstborn to Yosef. And it says, Rashi says about this, why did the tribe of Reuven came into this disagreement? Because he says, Oy la rasha ve'oy lishcheno, which means wow to the wicked and wow to his neighbor. We need to have good neighbors, dear ladies, next to us. Why? Because you remember when Yaakov Avinu in Parashat Vayechi was on his deathbed, he called all of his sons and he put them around him just like they're going to be in the desert, because there are three camps. The middle camp, the inside camp, is the camp of the divine presence of the Shekhinah. Around it is the camp of the Levites, and around this is the camp of the Israelites. And this is how they were settled in the desert. The Shekhinah is in the middle. On the east side is Moshe, Aaron, and his children. Their neighbors from the children of Israel is the tribe of Judah, Yisachar, and Zvulun. Then we go to the south side, because in the middle is the Shekhinah. Now we go again to the Levites. So over here is the family of Kehat, which is Korach, is part of the family of Kehat. And the Israeli neighbors is the tribe of Reuven, Shimon, Gad. And on the west side is the Gershoni, the family of Gershoni, from the Levites, and around the Shekhinah from the west side. And the Israelites that are next to them, the Ephraim, Binyamin, Menashe. And on the north is the family of Merari, from the family of the Levites. And their neighbors are the tribe of Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. So we see that on the south, on the south part, which is Teman, on the south part, around the camp of Shekhinah, there is the family of Kehat, which is Korach is part of it, because we know that Veikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kehat ben Levi, Vedatan ve'Aviram bnei Eliyav. So we see, and also it's written Vedatan ve'Aviram bnei Eliyav ve'on ben Pelet bnei Reuven, and all of the 250 firstborns that came. So the neighbors of Kehat is Reuven. On this says Rashi, Oy la rasha and ve'oy lishcheno. When we have bad influence next to us, because they were neighbors. They were on the south side around the camp of the Shekhinah, the divine presence. So we see that the influence of the neighbors, the influence of friends that are not good, the influence that we think that are gossiping with us and causing us to do things that we wouldn't have done if we wouldn't have been influenced by others, causes us to do foolish things and to go chas v'shalom, God forbid, against Hashem. So this is what happened. Datan v'Abiram was the two initiators of all of the fire from the beginning, when they saw Moshe Rabbeinu. You remember Moshe Rabbeinu came and he saw two people that are fighting among each other. There were two brothers, Datan and Abiram from the tribe of Reuven. They were fighting because there were policemen that were above the children of Israel, and one of the Nokshim, the Egyptians one, went and he was with the wife of Datan, and he called him to go early to work. He slept with his wife, and now his brother tells him you have to divorce her. But this was honest. This was like a rape. She didn't even know that. She didn't do it with a will to cheat her husband. So they had a fight, and they one raised their hand over the other. He didn't hit him, but Moshe says, "Rasha, lama takerecha." You are not allowed to raise your hand over your brother, over your friend. So they said, "Oh, you killed the Egyptian. Now you want to kill us too." And they went to Pharaoh and they told about Moshe Rabbeinu, and Pharaoh wanted to kill Moshe Rabbeinu. So they made a disagreement against Moshe Rabbeinu from the beginning. Moshe Rabbeinu had to run away from Egypt. This is the initiators of the fire from the beginning. So we see over here that they are the one that initiated the fire of this machloket. And then they went to their tents, because once they started with the slandering and lying about Moshe Rabbeinu, now everything goes on its own, so they can go back home. And if you will look around yourselves, you'll find the ones that initiates, which are the serpent, that are called Amalek ve'erev ra bekirbenu, that they initiate the disagreement, the hatred towards people. Lo alenu, almost in every community we have them, that they cause hatred and lies and slandering and gossip cause around people, and Hashem dislikes it. That's why Hashem said, you open your mouth, the earth will open her mouth. You open your mouth, you wanted to have greatness for yourself before time, you will die before time. You will go inside the earth before time, before your time. This is measure for measure Hashem does. Can you imagine? Measure for measure. But we see that on Ben Pelet, he wasn't part of this. The earth didn't take him. And why? Because like we said, the wisdom of women saved him, because his wife was very wise. She was humble, not like the wife of Korach that wanted to be the first woman. You know, the wife of like the wife of the president. So she told him, why do we join the disagreement? If Korach is a rabbi, is the head rabbi, if Korach becomes Kohen Gadol, you are still the student. If Moshe Rabbeinu is the king of the children of Israel, you are the student. He's the rabbi, you are the student. But he said, what shall I do? It was foolish, but what can I do now? I gave him a promise that then when he goes to disagree with them about Moshe Rabbeinu, I gave him a promise that I will be part of it. She said, don't worry, I will save you. With Hashem's help, I will save you. So what did she do? She says, I know that they are all very righteous, because all of them were very righteous. You see what the ego does? If you just open a small portion for the ego from the evil inclination, you became a slave to the evil inclination. It overwhelms you. It becomes part of you. It takes over you. Lo alenu. So she said, don't worry. She gave him wine, and she made him drunk, and he fell asleep. And then she sat at the entrance of their tent, and she took off her head covering. And all of them that came, all of the men that came to call him to be part of the disagreement, they saw that she was sitting without a head covering. They all went. They didn't look at her, and they immediately go. They sent another group to call him, and they saw that she's sitting there without a head covering. And all of them went back. This is how they were righteous. They wouldn't look at a woman, a married woman with her hair outside. all of them had head covering. They didn't have wigs, they had a head covering. So dear ladies, they didn't have shaitels, they all had tichel, all of them. So she took off her tichel, and they saw that she was sitting like this. They immediately took off the eyes. You remember that the first sight is the test from Hashem. The second one is already lost from the heart, that the heart desires to do a sin and to watch again. But if they were righteous, they looked once and they immediately went away from there. They sent another group, but she was sitting in the entrance. She saved her husband. This is a righteous woman that is not looking for ego and everything, the good, all of the things that lust and honor in this world, but she has all of her might is for Hashem. This is all of what she wanted to do, is the will of Hashem. סוף דבר הכל נשמע את אלוקים יראה ואת מצוותיו שמור כי זה כל האדם. This is the essence of a human being. And we see that also the children of Korach, he had 3 sons, and they didn't die. Uvnei Korach lo metu, they didn't die. And why? Because at the beginning they were part with their father. It was the father, they have respect thy father. So they had to respect him. But in their hearts they knew he was wrong. So when the earth was opened, and Moshe Rabbeinu davened to Hashem, he said, Hashem, open the mouth of the earth that they will know they won't die in a regular way, because I didn't take anything from them, and I davened for them that they will all be saved, he said. And this is what happens. So he said, Hashem, make something that is not from nature, that will happen, that everybody will know that this is your word, Hashem. This is your choice, Hashem. בבחינת, ואני אלחם לכם, ואתם תחרישון. I will fight for you and you will be silent. כן, יעבדו כל אויביך Hashem, that all of the enemies of Hashem will die. So בסייעתא דשמיא, he says to Hashem, and Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron and all the children of Israel, separate yourself from this evil people. And the earth opens its mouth, and also the children of Korach are falling in. But Hashem knows the heart of a person. This is how Hashem is great. He knows our heart. So he knows that the children of Korach are doing tshuva. And because he knows they do tshuva, Hashem takes a platform of earth to hold them that they won't fall in. And holds them. And that's why we have in the Tehillim, also the children of Korach are saying Tehillim, praising the name of Hashem. So that's why we see the name in the Tehillim, because these are the psalms that they said, and the merit of Hashem, praising his name for saving them. Because Hashem knows they didn't speak. Hashem knew their thoughts and their hearts. Can you imagine what a thought of tshuva can save a person, when a person has a thought of redemption to Hashem, that he decides, Hashem, I'm sorry, everything that I did wasn't in your will. I'm asking you, please forgive me. So dear ladies, we see from here, why did Moshe Rabbeinu had to do this and ask from Hashem? Because the whole purpose of Hashem taking the children of Israel is fulfilling what he promised Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. We go back to Parashat Korach in Chumash Shmot, and over there are 4 tongues of redemption. And Hashem says, Lech emor livnei Israel, go and tell the children of Israel, Ani Hashem, I'm Hashem, והוצאתי אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים, and I will take you out of the suffering of the Egyptians. והצלתי אתכם מעבודתם, and I will save you from their slavery, from their work. וגאלתי, and I'll redeem you. בזרוע נטויה, with a strong hand and with miracles above nature, ובשבטים גדולים. ולקחתי אתכם, and I will take you to me as people, ולקחתי אתכם לי לעם, והייתי לכם לאלוקים, and I will be your God. וידעתם כי אני השם אלוקיכם, and you will know that I'm Hashem your God. המוציא אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים, that I took you out of the sufferings of Egypt. And then, והבאתי אתכם אל הארץ אשר נשאתי ידי לתת אותה לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. ונתתי אותה לכם מורשה אני השם, and I will bring you to the land, the promised land, the land of Israel, Eretz Canaan, the land of Israel that I promised Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov to give it heritage to their descendants. And over here we see that Datan and Abiram are mocking the land of Israel, and they are calling the land of milk and honey to Egypt and not to the land of Israel. And they said, you brought us over here that we will 40 years die in the desert, and not to bring us truly to the land, the land of Israel. The land of milk and honey is Egypt. We should go back to Egypt. So we see that they're mocking, and it says this is mocking the word of Hashem, because Moshe Rabbeinu says, "V'nachnu ma." I am nothing, Moshe Rabbeinu said. I'm just doing the will of Hashem. I'm just a tube of the will of Hashem towards you. How dare you? How dare you behave like this? So we see that over here they rebelled against Moshe. Truly they rebelled against Hashem, because Moshe was the messenger of Hashem. Hashem put him as a king of the children of Israel. All of the 10 plagues came by Moshe and Aaron. And Hashem put Moshe Rabbeinu as the king of the children of Israel, and Hashem put Aaron as the high priest of the children of Israel. So we see over here how jealousy, lust, and honor take a human being literally out of this world. I would like to bless us that we will learn from this, Bezrat Hashem, to be humble, to remember where we came from, where are we going to, and in front of whom we're going to stand for judgment. May Hashem bless all of us, that we will all have the zchut to greet Mashiach tzidkenu ברחמים מורים במהרה בימינו אמן. אליהו נביא זכור לטוב, לעולם ייפרד אדם עם חברו בדבר הלכה יחיד ורבים הלכה כרבים. ובעזרת השם תלינו בטוב ותקיצו בשבח רחמים, חודש טוב ומבורך. Have a blessed